The old rock in a sock routine is a long-time tried and true classic that has probably been passed down since the day after socks were first invented, if not longer, and for good reason. It's cheap, it's effective, it can sometimes maybe even be the proverbial lifesaver when you find yourself in a jam and there's nothing else at hand, plus it rhymes, which is always a nice little added bonus. Alas, profoundly intellectual poetry was the last thing on my mind as I charged my way mindlessly down the hill and into the waiting jaws of prospective death. Staying alive was that, and hopefully maybe putting some kind of stopper to the ongoing beast girl turf war that I'd been witnessing for the better part of the long and hopelessly absurd night thus far. As I at last ambled my way into the midst of the impromptu riverside all-nighter, however, said sock rock swinging itself in a smelly frenzy just over my head like a half-drunk propeller, I ever so slightly managed to stumble my way over a protruding bush just a little, which was probably a less than stellar idea for the particular moment at hand. I've always been reasonably good at thinking on my feet, true enough, though staying on them could occasionally be a bit of a problem, like now. Plus charging down a bumpy hill in one sock while waggling the other over my head at a packload of hungry street gals really wouldn't have been my first choice for a fun time on a good day, or a bad night even. This night was suddenly threatening to go from bad to irretrievably worse in short order if I didn't get back onto my feet and fast. And so I did, albeit barely. Fortunately, it turned out to be just barely enough, because the beastie gals in question were promptly preparing themselves to all but pile themselves onto this tasty new arrival in all their bare and beastly glory. My makeshift rock soccer managed to drop no less than 3 of them with one swing, score one for the home team, then several more after that, then even a few more once I started really putting my back in it as best I could, but then something else began to happen. Surprisingly and a bit unexpectedly, the whole mess of them looked suddenly to be initiating something of a collective backslide themselves, as in back and away from yours truly. At first I stupidly allowed myself to believe that they were actually retreating, ready to relent and concede defeat maybe, or maybe it was just wishful thinking on my part. Not my first mistake of the night, though quite possibly my last, because what happened next very nearly defied description. But the animalistic Munchmeisters had the unmitigated gall to do it anyway. And so they did.
Want more Nick Slick? Of course you do. Just go to jamesontucker.com, where you'll find a link to the ebook that started it all, along with other cool stuff, of course. Go now, you'll be glad you did.